Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. So the video today is on this 2012 Mitsubishi L200, the Barbarian spec, with the automatic gearbox, and that's exactly where the problem is on the gearbox. So it's getting a little bit dark, so there's not a lot of light left, but what I'm going to show you now is going to be inside the car on the actually tool, which is already plugged in, ready to go. And the only reason why I'm recording these now is because I can then, even if it's dark, I can then do a little bit of digging off camera and then catch up with you guys later. But I can do this little bit now while I still have a little bit of light, and I can explain you what the problem is. So what the problem is with this. So this car was actually sold. This comes from a guy that buys and sells cars, and the car was sold, was running absolutely fine. Oh, I just seen this touch, really nice. So the guy sold this car, and within, he said to me a few weeks later, the guy came back with this thing because the guy that bought the car complained that the car is jumping out of gear, or not out of gear. He said to me it's jumping out of drive. So when the car is in drive, here the car is jumping out of drive. It goes into neutral. It didn't say to me nothing about this side. I don't think that would happen here. I can guarantee you that, and I'll show you in a minute why I think it wouldn't come out of gear on this position. I haven't test drive the car because I can see the problem here on my driveway. Now a little bit of background. The guy came here first about a week ago for me to have a quick look. So I plugged in the machine, and as soon as I plugged in the Maxi Cs, played a little bit with this here on the driveway. I haven't drove the car, and I've seen straight away what I think the problem is. At the time I didn't have the room. He brought me the car now a few days ago. I've been working day shifts. Today's my day off. I've been doing other things, but anyway, so I've seen straight away what the problem seems to be, and what the problem is the following. So let me show you this. So the car is in neutral now. Actually, what I'm going to do, because it's not going to be too noisy, let me start this, because that way we're not going to be here dragging, flattening the battery. Let me put it like this so you can see better in there. So as you can see, by the way, there's no lights, no faults on the gearbox. I can show you. I haven't actually scanning there. As you can see, I was just on the live data. As you can see, there's no faults detected on the gearbox. This is the gearbox menu. I was just there on the live data. And what I want to show you is the following. So as you can see, the car is there, is in neutral. I'm in neutral. I'm gonna pull the car to gear. Is in drive, and the car will drive. If I take my foot off, the car will drive. Okay, no problems. But look at this. When I do this, if I touch, you see it's still in drive. I've just touched it and the drive is gone. Okay, and now if I do this, drive is back on. You see, I'm still in the same. I've just touched, look. So if I go, I can't show you both screens at the same time. Maybe I will be able to actually. So I might be able to see both. You see, I just touched the lever. Drive. Off. And if I force it a tiny bit more, it used to go into neutral. It's not going into neutral now for some reason. But when I used to do this, it used to go into neutral. And when it's like this, so as you can see, there's nothing on the screen. If I take my foot off and I accelerate, I can accelerate now. The car doesn't move. It's actually disengaged. Okay? So I'm gonna pull it like so again. Drive comes on the screen, and if I take my foot off, the car will drive. Okay, so when he said he's jumping out of gear, what I think is happening, I might be wrong here, is with vibrations on the road, obviously the lever vibrates and it pulls the car, not into neutral probably, but it pulls the car in that mode where it doesn't know where it is. Now, I'm not sure at this point where the problem is, and just to show you as well, if I show you this on live data, I think will be important to show you this as well. Let me see if I can show you this. I think it's like that. So let me put those two at the top. So it's in neutral at the moment, so I got to put it to drive, as you can see. So it's in drive, first gear, inhibitor switch, okay. And now when I touch the lever, there we go. You see that? So as soon as I touch it, that goes to neutral, and the shift position goes to neutral as well. Now, the only thing I want to know, because some cars obviously they do have, I don't know what this system is, so we're going to learn as I go along, or I'm going to learn as I go along. Some of you probably already know. I don't know if there is a switch in here that tells the position, or if there is something on the gearbox itself that shows the position, okay? Some cars, they do have something here that shows when the car is in whichever position, and some others, they actually have a cable that goes all here to the gearbox, and then the actually switch for the positions is actually on the gearbox. Sometimes inside, sometimes outside. I don't have a clue what I'm dealing with here. We're gonna learn, or I'm gonna learn, and hopefully find out what the problem is and fix it. So that's the start of it, so you know what the problem is now, and that's the only issue with the car. So we're gonna try to resolve this. So with no further ado, let's gonna go do some investigation, and I think I will catch up when I know something else. Okay, if it's this simple, I'm not gonna wait for daylight, and I'm gonna finish this off now. Let me show you. So I put the car on the ramps, and let me show you the following. So the car, so the car is in neutral at the moment, okay, and let me show you this. Don't know if this is gonna be the problem, but the switch for the gear engaged. Let me see if I can show you this somehow. I'm not even seeing the camera. Oh, right. So there it is. So this is the switch for the. Actually, let me get some. Oh man, how am I gonna hold the light? Okay, so this is the switch here. So there's an electrical plug here at the back. And these here at the back where these bolts are, this bolt and that bolt, so this part here is the switch, is what levers the gear engagement, and is the switch that tells the car which gear is engaged. And right now we are in neutral. When the car does this, let me see if I can pull it by hand. There we go. So this is drive, okay? So pulling, I don't know if you can see, pulling the lever down is drive, okay? That means go neutral and drive, okay? But obviously the lever is now in the drive position, and what I'm going to try to do is I don't know if you can see, this bolt here is on a slot. I don't know if you can see, is on a slot, and that's the cable that comes from inside the car to there, to then turn this up and down, okay? Which obviously as the cable goes here back and forwards, it swivels this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust that a tiny bit, so when you put into drive, this comes a little bit further down, just to force it a tiny bit more, because it might be that he's actually engaged in drive, but he's just about to switch inside to drive. So if we can move this further down a little bit, he might be able to actually hold in position. So for that, I'm going to have to try to move these, undo this bolt, and try to move these back a little bit. So when you engage drive, it pushes further, and hopefully without affecting the other gears. Okay, and okay, I just did a little bit. I didn't got the results I was hoping for. So what I've done at the moment, guys, is I've disengaged the cable from the gearbox itself. And what I want to, the only reason why I've done it is because I wanted to understand if there is two switches, like one switch here that tells the car, like two switches, one here, one on the gearbox, and they both need to switch at the same time, let's say. But there isn't, so I can now move from back and forwards without engaging any gears. Okay, so the only switch to tell the car where the gears are is the one on the side of the gearbox. So that's the one we're gonna have to try to see what's wrong with it, because it looks like it's really sensitive, and it's just seeing the gear on that exact position. Don't know if there's any, it doesn't look like there's anything here. It's neutral, that's gear. I'm guessing when you go to here, it's not gonna move. So let me try this again. So let me try this on drive, put it into drive, and put the cable back in and try to see if there's any tiny adjustment that I can do to prevent this from happening. Okay guys, to remove this center console is rather simple. You do have two bolts at the back there, inside there. You take those two bolts, pull the handbrake, this thing comes out, this part. Then the front one here, you are left with two bolts here, that by removing the rear one exposes two bolts here. And then you have two plastic clips here on the front, and then you take everything out. To remove this knob is just untwist it anti-clockwise, and then this one in the middle, you pull the bottom section of it. Where is the thingy? You pull this bottom section out, then you have two bolts or two screws here on the side. Once you take the screws, just pull it up and it will come out, and then you take this middle section. Now you might be asking, why did I remove this? Let me show you why. Okay, so removing, so try to adjust the linkage underneath on the gearbox, makes no difference. If I start to move too far out, it will start to get the gears in the wrong position according to the lever, and things start to go really weird. So there is a tiny bit of adjustment, but not enough to actually make any difference. So what I've decided to do was to check this to see how this works. And what I found, so my idea was to see if when this thing goes into position there, into drive, if the only thing holding in here, if it was the gearbox, that lever sort of on the gearbox, or if there was something inside here that would help this to be in the position. And I was right, indeed it is. So when you get here, you have this thing here that helps it to be in position. You can see there, when I try to move it, you see there? So a tiny touch and it'll start, look, you see? It starts to allow it to move. So my plan is, one, force this plate, bend this plate a bit to put more pressure. But second, I'm going to deepen this groove here to hold this more in place so it doesn't move just by touching it. So you're going to have to really force this out of the way to disengage the drive. So the first thing we're going to do, I already started, there's a washer here. That is a washer that crimps into the shaft that is not meant to be removed, but you can pull it out by squeezing a screwdriver underneath. And now there is a shaft to remove, which I've just started to take it off. Actually, I need a little bit of paper to put these things. Just hold a second. Okay, so we'll then put new grease when you put all these back in. And now this wall center should come out. See if it does. If there's anything else holding it in place. No, there isn't. There we go. So this comes off, this section. And now here I should be able to take this screw off. Take this plate. Oh, come on. and I don't know if you can see, is slightly bending that way, which means it's losing the pressure. So if we force it the other way, it's going to make more pressure against these grooves here. But nevertheless, this comes off. Yes, it does. Nevertheless, we are going to deepen this one here a little bit, so when that thing goes there, it goes deeper down and holds the lever in place. So it's going to do it and see how it goes. Okay, so here we have. So I've bent this a tiny bit. Probably might be too much, don't know yet. And as you can see, I've stiffened this thing here a little bit. Okay, there we go. So hope I haven't exaggerated, but let's see if this works. If it does, oh well, good. So let's gonna just assemble everything back on and give you a test here on the bench, and then try on the car. Okay, so it is late. It's now what's the time? 8:15. And I was to actually come just tomorrow morning and wrap up this because it's fixed. So what we did actually worked. Just one quick thing I want to go for before we get inside, because the car is all assembled, in case if some keyboard warrior is going to see that at the front of the gear selector I've cut the carpet, because the carpet is actually one piece going from one side to the other. And to actually get to the bolts and to remove the gear selector assemble, I had to cut the carpet, just so you don't go crazy. In order for the carpet to not start to slide back, I've actually did this. So I opened two tiny holes with the cutting pliers, and I put two cable ties holding the carpet. So there we go. But now we're going to get inside the car. As I said, I was to wrap up this tomorrow because it would be daylight, it would be better. But to be honest, it is fixed. I'm just going to ring the guy today to pick up the car, if he wants to pick up the car today, because today is Saturday night. If he needs the car for tomorrow, Sunday, he still can have the car. So I'm literally just going to wrap up this and ring the guy that he can pick it up. So I'm going to show you that everything is working. Yes, it is a little bit more difficult. Not difficult. Not difficult. It's a little bit more of pressure to take the car out of drive, but nothing crazy. So I'm going to start the thingy. Okay, so it's running, and I'm going to show you that when you put into let me see if I can show you just like we did earlier. I'm going to put into drive, so it's in drive, and what I'm going to show you is when I wiggle this, as far as I don't move the gear, as you can see, nothing happens. Okay, so if you remember before, just by touching it slightly it would come out of gear. Now to go to neutral, you need to do a little bit more pressure, but it's nothing, you know, when you have just the lever in place. So when I was trying to move it out of drive on a bench, it looks like you need to do a lot of force, and it feels a little bit, I don't know, it feels too much mechanical, because you need to make a lot of pressure for that roller to come out of that groove and allow the gear to move. But once you have everything assembled with this knob here and everything, it's actually not too difficult, just normal, feels pretty much normal. But the main thing is, as you can see, it no longer comes out of drive, so I don't think it's going to be, and it goes there fine. I will show you on the cluster in a second. As you can see, it doesn't come out of drive anymore. So I think what was happening was, and the vibrations, etc. With the vibrations, maybe, I don't know what kind of driving or what kind of roads the owner was driving this, but it could have been with vibrations, etc. would jump into neutral. Now, as you can see, it doesn't happen. And I'm going to try to show you also by showing you the cluster at the same time that nothing happens, okay, unless I move that to neutral. So it is fixed, guys. I'm really happy that we fixed it, and I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. So in the end, that's how I overcome this issue. It might be that if you would replace this whole gear assemble here and maybe the sensor on the gearbox, that would also fix the problem. but I didn't felt the need of that. So let me put this into wheel drive again. I didn't felt the need of that. I just felt that was just this. It was too much play when the car was in drive, and that was enough to move the front of the cable where it's on a gearbox, and was enough to move the car out of gear. So guys, it's fixed. Really happy with this, and that's it. Problem fixed. And I don't know, probably you haven't learned anything. It was just a kind of a bodged, if you will, but we got it fixed, guys. So with no further ado, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope, who knows, you might have learned something. If you do still have any questions, any comments, you know exactly how it works, just put them below. And like always, thank you for watching.